Hey, what's up, you guys? Listen, sit down, lock your door, put your phone face down, because what I'm about to walk you through right now is not gossip. It's not a rumor. It's not a hot take. It's a coordinated 4-day, multi-million-dollar media operation engineered to bury a dead woman a second time. And I have the receipts, the timeline, and the eyewitness account to prove it. Her name was Ashley Jana. Say it with me. Ashley Jana. Because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why a small army of publicists, lawyers, crypto money men, and one very famous celebrity gossip outlet are working around the clock to make sure you forget that name. And you will understand exactly why I refuse to let that happen. I was inside that church. Both wakes. The funeral. I watched 70 family members dressed in pure white pour down that aisle like a river. I read every single TMZ article line by line, sentence by sentence, comma by comma. And I'm telling you right now, what's being printed about this family is not journalism. It's a defense brief disguised as a news cycle. And tonight, I'm tearing it apart in front of you, piece by piece. But before I get into the playbook, let me give you the one detail nobody is talking about loud enough. The detail that, once you hear it, you cannot unhear. The detail that flips this entire story on its head and exposes the whole machine. I'll get to it. You stay with me. Because that one detail is the nail in the coffin of this PR campaign. Let's get into it. Ashley Jana was not a headline. She was a human being. A daughter. A fiancée. A stepmother. A creator. A friend. A young woman with a smile that walked into a room before she did. She had a future stretched out in front of her like an open highway at sunrise. And in 4 days, that highway was bulldozed. For days after her birthday. For days after she said yes to a marriage proposal. For days after what was supposed to be the happiest moment of her young life. She boarded a flight to Tanzania with the man she trusted with her entire heart. She never came home. On April 8th, she was found unconscious. Alive, barely. Rushed to a hospital halfway around the world from the people who loved her most. Her parents, Harry and Yolanda, were thousands of miles away. Helpless, phone in hand, waiting on every update, every call, every shred of information that wasn't coming. And for 11 hours, 11 brutal hours, Ashley fought. Alone in a hospital bed, in a foreign country, while the man who was supposed to be her future husband sat in silence beside her. 11 hours. Let that number live in your chest for a second. She lost that fight. But Ashley Jana did not lose her name. Because every voice rising right now, every creator, every commenter, every cousin, every aunt, every friend who walked into that church in white, is carrying her name forward like a torch. She is the hero of this story. And heroes do not get rewritten by publicists. Let me tell you who Ashley actually was. Because the obituary version sanitized by a press release does not even scratch the surface. Ashley was the cousin who showed up to every birthday. The friend who texted you at midnight when she sensed something was off. The stepmother who learned how to braid hair from YouTube tutorials because she wanted to do it right. The creator who built an audience not on outrage but on softness. And in 2026, building anything on softness is an act of rebellion. She did not chase virality. Virality chased her. And it is precisely that authenticity, that unbought brightness, that the machine spinning around her death cannot replicate, cannot replace, and cannot ever apologize for erasing. I'm the one who showed up. Not as a vulture. Not as a clout chaser. As a witness. I walked into that church Monday for the first wake. I came back Tuesday for the second wake and the funeral. I sat 3/4 of the way back on Ashley's side, and I watched everything. The silence. The breathing. The tears. The white. Especially the white. I'm the one who reads every TMZ article like a forensic accountant reads a balance sheet. Line by line. Word by word. Source by source. Or in this case, source by phantom source. Because that's what they're hiding behind. Ghosts. Vapor. Sentences with no names attached. And here's something I want you to remember. I called out TMZ for not citing sources. The very next day, suddenly, magically, miraculously, sources appeared in their articles. Coincidence? I don't believe in those. They reached out to me directly a month and a half ago. It's on my Instagram. I know they are watching this channel. I know they are reading every word. So if you're reading this right now, friend at TMZ, keep printing it. I'll keep ripping it apart in front of 200,000 people at a time. I'm not perfect. I've admitted on this channel that I had my own questions about the family early on. Real questions. Honest questions. But here's what makes me different from the keyboard mob. I went. I sat. I listened. I felt the room. And I came back to tell you what the cameras refused to show. That's not gossip. That's journalism. And it is in painfully short supply right now. Let me also tell you why I take this so personally. I have sat across from grieving families before. Not as a reporter, as a friend. I know what it looks like when a mother loses the will to drink water for 48 hours. I know what it sounds like when a father's voice cracks in the middle of a sentence about his own daughter. I have seen, with my own eyes, what real grief actually does to a human body. And I am telling you, Harry and Yolanda are carrying that real grief. The kind you cannot fake. The kind no publicist would ever schedule. And that is exactly why no publicist was ever going to be able to package them for a TMZ paragraph. Villain number 1. Joe McCann. The fiancé. The man on the other side of that hotel door. The man on the other side of those 11 hours. The man who, when she was found unconscious, allegedly told her mother that Ashley had done something to herself. A claim nobody who actually knew Ashley believes for a single second. The man who, when she passed, did not pick up the phone and call her parents. The hospital did. Read that again. The hospital had to inform Harry and Yolanda that their daughter was gone. The fiancé did not. The man whose passport is currently sitting in a drawer in Tanzania. The man who, instead of demanding justice for the love of his life, dropped a polished Twitter letter on the day of her funeral. Not a single line in that letter demanded answers. Not one. We will come back to that. Villain number 2. Joe's lawyer. The architect. The author of the now infamous phrase, responded promptly and appropriately. That is not the language of a grieving fiancé. That is the language of a defense attorney building a record in public, in advance, before a single charge has been filed. That phrase did not fall out of the sky. It was drafted. It was approved. It was placed. Lawyers do not waste syllables. Every single word in that quote was selected to do a specific job in a future courtroom. And the job that quote was hired to do was to neutralize a mother before she ever gets the chance to testify. Villain number 3. The publicist. The invisible hand. The author of that Twitter letter that hit every Hallmark beat and somehow forgot to mention the word justice. The crafter of every exclusive leaked from a source close to, meaning a source on a payroll. This is not grief. This is choreography. And whoever this publicist is, and we will eventually know, they will be remembered as the person who took a paycheck to whitewash the death of a young woman. That is not a job. That is a legacy. Wear it. Villain number 4. TMZ. The giant. The household name. The megaphone allegedly weaponized to rehabilitate a man who hasn't earned rehabilitation. For exclusives in 4 straight days. Monday, fiancé not invited to funeral. Tuesday, fiancé breaks silence after being questioned by cops. Wednesday, fiancé received racist taunts and threats. Thursday, fiancé's text to her mother allegedly left on read. For headlines. For days. One mission. Flip the narrative. Make Joe the victim. Make the parents the villains. And quietly bury the only question that actually matters. What happened to Ashley in that hotel room? Villain number 5. The money men. The crypto brothers. The hedge fund backers. The investors looking at Joe and saying, very politely, in very expensive offices, we cannot put another dollar into your projects until you look like a human being again. That financial pressure is the engine running this entire campaign. Follow the money. The money always tells you the truth that the press release will not. Somewhere in a Discord, somewhere in a Telegram, somewhere on an encrypted Signal thread, there is a group chat where investors are openly discussing how much further they can ride this image rehab before the Tanzania file lands on a desk. That chat exists. I would bet my channel on it. Villain number 6. The online mob. The commentators who tore into Harry and Yolanda before knowing a single fact. The same crowd that wrongly attacked LAPD in the David Burke case before the real story emerged. The keyboard prosecutors. The vibes-based jurors. They will be eating humble pie by the time Tanzania finishes its investigation. I promise you that. And I am going to be here, with the receipts, to remind every single one of them what they said and when they said it. Day 1. Monday, May 4th. The first wake. Sacred ground. Family ground. And TMZ chose this day, of all days, to drop their first exclusive. Headline, fiancé not invited to funeral. Here is what they did not tell you. TMZ tried to physically gain access to the wake. I was there. Other outlets were there. The pastor, not the family, turned them away. From what I witnessed with my own 2 eyes, no family member spoke to any news outlet at that church on that day. So if TMZ grabbed a quote, it came from a stranger on a sidewalk, and they conveniently forgot to tell you whose mouth it came out of. The entire premise of their first exclusive rests on a shadow, a ghost, a vapor source. That is not reporting. That is fiction with a logo on top. Day 2. Tuesday, May 5th. The funeral. The actual funeral. The day a family is supposed to be left in peace to bury their child. And on this exact day, Joe McCann posted a public open letter to Ashley on Twitter. Joe does not have a massive following. He should not have been able to push that letter into global headlines on his own. But within hours, TMZ rocket-fueled it into every news feed on the planet. That letter is a masterclass. It hits every grieving widower beat with surgical precision. It drips with curated emotion. And it says nothing, absolutely nothing, about what actually happened to Ashley. Nothing about answers. Nothing about justice. Nothing about a demand. Just a man performing pain for an algorithm. Day 3. Wednesday, May 6th. Suddenly Joe is the victim. Racist taunts. Death threats. No screenshots. No DM receipts. No police report referenced. Just sources, sources, sources. Those same phantom shadows. I debunked this article in full in my last video. It's pinned in the comments. Go watch it. Then come back here. Because day 4 is where they cross the line into something so cold, I genuinely had to pause and walk away from my desk. Day 4. Thursday, May 7th. The attack on Yolanda. A grieving mother. The lowest, most cowardly play in the entire campaign. The headline, Fiancé's text to Ashley's mother allegedly left on read. Let me show you exactly what they did inside that article. They opened by claiming Joe tried reaching out to her family after her passing, but the communication basically hit a wall immediately afterwards. The audacity is biblical. Here is what they hid from you. When Ashley was first found unconscious, Joe allegedly called or texted her mother claiming Ashley had done something to herself, a claim every single person in her life rejects. Ashley was rushed to the hospital. And here is the detail that should stop you cold. Ashley herself called her mother and asked for a phone charger. The woman lying in a hospital bed in a foreign country had the presence of mind to call her mom and ask for a charger. She was reaching for the people who loved her. She was reaching home. And when Ashley passed away, who informed her parents? It wasn't Joe. It was the hospital. Read that one more time. The hospital, not the fiancé, had to make the call telling Harry and Yolanda that their daughter was gone. Let that sit in your stomach for a second. Then go read the TMZ article again and tell me that family is the villain. Now look at the next line of that article, sourced to Joe's lawyer. Yolanda texted Joe asking what happened on April 9th, shortly after Ashley passed away. And despite being completely crushed by her passing, Joe responded promptly and appropriately. Despite being crushed. Promptly. Appropriately. That is not a man speaking. That is a lawyer ventriloquizing through a man. That is courtroom language. That is the exact phrasing a defense attorney slides into the public record to begin building a narrative for a jury that has not yet been seated. And it gets worse. The article continues that Yolanda never replied, and Joe hasn't heard back from the family since. Then the cruelest twist, Joe chose not to follow up again because he wanted to respect the family's silence and give them space to grieve. Excuse me. Excuse me. You lived with this woman. You proposed to this woman. She was a stepmother to your children. Her parents were going to be your parents. And you're telling me that a single unreplied text from a grieving mother across an ocean is enough to make you stop reaching out? No phone call. No second message. No flowers. No friend on a plane. No knock on the door. Nothing. That is not love. That is not grief. That is a calculated retreat. A retreat drafted on legal letterhead. And then TMZ closes the article with the final dagger. We've reached out to Ashley's parents, Harry and Yolanda. So far, no word back. Designed to make grieving parents look guilty for the unforgivable sin of refusing to perform their pain for a celebrity gossip blog. While the PR machine in America spins 24 hours a day, Tanzania has been doing something the headlines barely whisper. They seized Joe's passport. They have reportedly questioned, held, or detained up to 10 other individuals connected to the situation. They ordered an autopsy. They are reviewing hotel surveillance footage. The case is open. The case is active. The case is not closed. So the next time you see TMZ quote a single sentence claiming the authorities ruled it self-inflicted, remember that sentence is one paragraph of a book that has many, many chapters left to be written. And those chapters are being written by investigators who are not on a publicist's payroll. Let me give you a quick civics lesson on why this matters. In the American Court of Public Opinion, you can buy a narrative for the price of a publicist retainer. In a Tanzanian criminal investigation, you cannot. The investigators do not read TMZ. The medical examiner does not care about a Twitter letter. The customs officer holding that passport does not check the Sunday morning ratings. There is a reason that passport is still in that drawer. There is a reason 10 people are being questioned. There is a reason the autopsy was ordered. None of those reasons appeared in any of the 4 TMZ exclusives. Funny how that works. And one more thing about Tanzania. People online keep underestimating their forensic apparatus. They have hotel surveillance. They have hallway cameras. They have lobby cameras. They have elevator cameras. They have key card swipe records. They have room service receipts. They have housekeeping logs. They have witness statements from staff who saw who came in, who went out, what time, and in what state. That is not nothing. That is, in fact, a tighter forensic web than most American hotel investigations because, in Tanzania, hospitality is a regulated, surveilled, export-grade industry. The story you are getting from a publicist is a postcard. The story the investigators are assembling is a documentary. I will never forget what I witnessed inside that sanctuary. I sat on Ashley's side, the right side, about 3/4 of the way back. The pastor asked everyone to stand for the entrance of the family. And what I saw next, I cannot describe to you in a way that does it justice, but I will try. Row after row after row of family members dressed in pure, blinding white walked down that aisle. Not 5, not 10, at least 70 people, maybe more. A river, a wall, an army of love that refused to be silent. And later, when the pastor asked everyone except family to stand, more people stayed seated than stood up. Let that visual live in your imagination. More family in that church than non-family. That is the family TMZ wants you to believe is cold. That is the family being described in a lawyer's quote on a celebrity gossip blog as unresponsive. That is the family being smeared. Let me be clear. That church was not silence. That church was thunder. That church was love. That church was an army of 70+ people who refused to let Ashley Jana be forgotten by anyone, anywhere, ever. And I will carry the image of that aisle with me for the rest of my life. I want to describe one more moment, because if you ever doubted that this family loved this woman beyond words, this moment will settle it for you forever. During the service, an older woman, I believe a great aunt, stood up. She did not speak. She did not cry out. She just placed both hands flat against her chest, looked up at the ceiling, and held them there. For 30 full seconds. The entire room went quiet. I am telling you, the air in that sanctuary stopped moving. That is what real love looks like in the presence of real loss. That is not a TMZ paragraph. That is not a publicist quote. That is a human soul refusing to leave a young woman behind. And I will defend that family until the last drop of fuel in my body runs out. I also want to mention the little ones. The children at that funeral. Cousins, nieces, nephews. Tiny humans in tiny white outfits who did not fully understand why their Auntie Ashley was not coming back. One of them clutched a small bouquet of white flowers to her chest the entire service. She did not put it down once. Not when she sat. Not when she stood. Not when she cried. She held those flowers like she was holding Ashley's hand. And if you, dear viewer, can hold that image in your mind for the rest of this video, that little girl, those white flowers, that grip, you will never again be convinced by a TMZ paragraph that this family is anything other than what it is. Love incarnate, loss embodied, and the truest, loudest answer to every lie being printed about them. I have studied crisis PR. I have watched this exact playbook run on different victims in different cases for years. Let me walk you through every move they are running on Ashley's family in real time. Move 1. Repetition. TMZ keeps repeating, in article after article, that the family had Joe's contact information. Why? Because if you repeat something 3 times in one article, casual readers absorb it as a confirmed fact instead of a deflection. It's a magician's trick. Watch this hand. Don't watch the other one. Move 2. Sympathetic framing. despite being crushed, promptly and appropriately. Out of respect. Every one of those phrases is a polished armor plate bolted onto Joe's reputation before you read the next paragraph. They want you emotionally invested in his suffering before you have a chance to ask a single hard question. Move 3. Missing context. They tell you Yolanda didn't reply to a text. They do not tell you that Joe failed to be the one to inform her daughter was dead. They do not tell you the hospital made that call. They do not tell you Ashley called her own mother for a phone charger from her hospital bed. Context is the enemy of propaganda, so they strip it out. Move 4. Phantom sources. Sources tell us. Sources who? Sources where? Sources how close? The vagueness is the strategy. You can't fact-check a ghost. You can only repeat what the ghost said. Move 5. Victim flip. Joe is being threatened. Joe is being taunted. Joe is grieving. Joe is being mistreated by Tanzanian authorities. Suddenly, the man whose passport is being held in an active international investigation becomes the protagonist of a tragedy. The actual dead woman gets demoted to a footnote. Move 6. Smear the inconvenient. When the parents refuse to play along, when they refuse to give a quote, refuse to invite the cameras, refuse to perform their pain for a logo, they get painted as cold, distant, and unresponsive. The crime is silence. The punishment is character assassination on a national platform. Move 7. Timing. Look at when these stories drop. The first one hits on the day of the first wake. The second one hits on the day of the funeral. The third and fourth come back to back as the family is trying to mourn. That is not coincidence. That is timing weaponized to ensure the family is too emotionally destroyed to issue a counter-statement. By the time they could even consider responding, the news cycle has already moved on and the narrative is concrete. Move 8. Authority laundering. Phrases like law enforcement sources and people familiar with the situation are designed to borrow credibility from institutions that have not actually spoken on the record. The reader's brain does not parse the qualifier. The reader's brain just hears officials. It is verbal sleight of hand, and it works on millions of casual scrollers every single day. Move 9. The drip. Notice they are not dropping all of this at once. They are spacing it out. Why? Because every drip resets the algorithm. Every drip generates a fresh headline cycle. Every drip refreshes the search rankings. Every drip pushes the original story, the one that benefits the family, further down the page. It is search engine optimization weaponized as character defense. And it works on Google in less than 72 hours. Move 10. The preemptive sympathy hook. Notice how every single Joe-friendly article begins with a sentence designed to make you feel bad for him before you read a single fact. Despite being crushed, heartbroken, in mourning, those openers are the emotional equivalent of a coat of primer. By the time you get to the actual claim, your brain has already been painted with pity. You read the rest of the article through a soft filter that the publicist literally drew on top of your eyeballs. This is the playbook, and TMZ printed every page. I am circling every page in red ink in front of you. Remember at the top of this video, I told you there was one detail. One single thread that, when you pull it, the whole sweater unravels. Here it is. I have waited the entire video to give it to you because I want you to feel the weight of it. 11 hours. Ashley was unconscious for 11 hours in that hospital before she passed. 11 hours in a foreign country. 11 hours during which her fiancé was, by his own team's account, present and responsive. 11 hours during which her parents, who loved her more than oxygen, heard nothing from the man who was supposed to be her husband. No FaceTime. No live update. No, I'm with her. She's fighting. I love you. We are doing everything we can. Nothing. 11 hours is enough time to fly from New York to Dar es Salaam with a layover. 11 hours is enough time to make 40 phone calls. 11 hours is enough time to demand interpreters, second opinions, transfer protocols, embassy intervention. 11 hours is an eternity when the love of your life is unconscious in a foreign hospital. And what did the world hear from him during those 11 hours? Silence. Total, calculated, surgical silence. You know who broke the silence first? The hospital, not the fiancé. The hospital, with a phone call no parent should ever receive. Now go back and read every single TMZ article through that lens. Every single one. And tell me with a straight face that the family is the villain. And here is the part that should make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Watch this carefully. In every TMZ exclusive over those 4 days, not once, has the 11-hour window been addressed. Not by the lawyer, not by the publicist, not by Joe himself in the Twitter letter. The single most damning, most easily clarified, most innocent explanation-friendly window of time in this entire story, and his team will not touch it. Why? Because they cannot explain it. Because the only people who can explain it are sitting in a Tanzanian police station answering questions in a language Joe does not speak. That is your smoking gun. That is the silence inside the silence. Think about it this way. If there was a clean, innocent, sympathetic explanation for those 11 hours, that explanation would already be a TMZ exclusive. It would be the first exclusive. It would be the headline of the Twitter letter. It would be the opening line of the publicist's response. Because nothing in PR works better than a sympathetic explanation for a damning detail. The fact that no such explanation exists in any of these articles tells you everything you need to know. The silence in the news cycle matches the silence in the hospital. Same source, same architect, same fingerprint. You might be sitting there thinking, why am I, a person who has never met this family, supposed to care this much? Here's why. Because this playbook does not stop with Ashley Jana. This playbook gets sharpened on her case and then deployed against the next family. And the next. And the next. Every time a wealthy man with a publicist needs his image rebuilt over the body of a woman who can no longer speak, they will pull this exact playbook off the shelf and run it. Repetition. Sympathetic framing. Missing context. Phantom sources. Victim flip. Smear the inconvenient. The only thing that breaks this machine is daylight. The only thing that breaks daylight is voices. The only thing that creates voices is people like you sharing, commenting, refusing to let the narrative ossify into so-called fact. Your comment is a brick. Your share is a hammer. Your refusal to scroll past is the difference between a story that gets buried and a story that gets answered. So when Tanzania finishes the autopsy, and they will, when the hotel footage gets reviewed, and it will, when the 10 other individuals are questioned, and they have been, the world will remember Ashley Jana. Not because TMZ wrote about her. Because we did. And while we are on the subject of why this matters, let me name a few other young women whose names got buried by this exact same playbook in the last decade. I am not going to list them here because I do not want to be sued by the same publicists, but I have a notebook. You have a memory. The pattern is the pattern. The same firms, the same outlets, the same architecture of phantom sourcing and victim flipping. This is not a one-off campaign for Ashley. This is an industrial assembly line, and Ashley is just this week's product on the conveyor belt. Until we collectively unplug the machine, the conveyor belt keeps moving. So consider this video an unplugging. To Joe McCann, if you are watching this, and I suspect you are, because your publicist is, because your lawyer is, because your investors are, I want you to know something. The Twitter letter did not work. The exclusives did not work. The responded promptly and appropriately did not work. Because the internet has memory now. Receipts do not die. And 11 hours of silence cannot be papered over by 4 days of polished press. To Joe's lawyer. Beautiful courtroom language. Truly. Premium grade. But you printed it in the wrong courtroom. You printed it in the court of public opinion before a single charge was filed. That is a tell. That is a tell that screams you are bracing for impact. We see you. The internet sees you. Tanzania sees you. To Joe's publicist. The Hallmark template is showing. The focus grouped grief is leaking. Next time, maybe include a single sentence demanding justice for the woman your client claims to have loved. That oversight is doing more damage to him than the silence ever did. To TMZ, I know you were reading. You started citing sources the day after I called you out. So let me give you one more piece of free editorial direction. Cite them with names. Cite them with context. Cite them with verification. Or do not cite them at all. Phantom sources are not journalism. Phantom sources are stenography for a publicist. And we are done pretending otherwise. To the money men in the background. The crypto brothers. The hedge fund desks. The investors trying to wash an image clean enough to wire more money. Your math is wrong. You are spending millions on a campaign that the internet has already X-rayed. Every dollar you spend rehabilitating this image is a dollar that becomes evidence. Evidence of pressure. Evidence of motive. Evidence of a coordinated effort. Keep going. Please. We are taking notes. To the keyboard mob attacking Harry and Yolanda. You are wrong. You will publicly be proven wrong. And when that day comes, I want you to do one simple, dignified thing. Apologize. Not to me. To them. By name. In the same comment sections where you smeared them. Because that is what adults do when they realize they have hurt innocent people. And because Ashley deserves an internet that learns how to grieve without first throwing stones. You do not know me. You will probably never meet me. But I want you to hear this. The river of white that walked down that aisle is the truth. Your silence is not coldness. Your silence is sacred. Your silence is the loudest, most dignified statement any grieving parent could ever make in a world that demands you perform your pain for content. You do not owe TMZ a quote. You do not owe a publicist a reply. You do not owe the internet a press conference. You owe Ashley one thing, and you are giving it to her every single day by refusing to play their game. Justice. That is what you owe her. And it is coming. From Tanzania. From the autopsy. From the footage. From the truth. It is coming. And every one of us watching is standing behind you. In white. For as long as it takes. Take your time. Eat when you can. Sleep when your body finally allows it. Cry without an audience. Laugh without guilt when a memory of her sneaks up on you in the kitchen at 2 in the morning. None of that is weakness. All of it is love. And the love is the only thing that survives a story like this. The love is the receipt that no publicist can rewrite. The love is the one piece of evidence the machine cannot manufacture, cannot purchase, and cannot delete. Keep loving her loudly. The rest of us are following your lead. And if there is ever a day, weeks, or months from now, when you want a microphone, not for a quote, but for a statement, there are creators out there, myself included, who will hand you that microphone with no edits, no leading questions, and no agenda. Your daughter's story belongs to you, not to a tabloid, not to a publicist, not to a lawyer drafting a sentence in a celebrity gossip column. To you, whenever you are ready, on your terms, in your time. So here's where we are. We have a beautiful young woman, for days from her birthday, for days from her proposal, who got on a plane with the man she trusted and never came home. We have 11 hours of unexplained silence. We have a fiancé whose passport is in a drawer in Tanzania. We have a lawyer publishing courtroom phrases in celebrity gossip articles. We have a publicist printing Hallmark grief on Twitter. We have a media outlet running 4 exclusives in 4 days that just so happened to flip the victim and crown the villain. We have a hospital, not a fiancé, making the call no parent should ever have to receive. We have a mother who texted asking what happened and got a prompt and appropriate lawyer-drafted reply. We have a family of 70 walking down an aisle in pure white. And we have a global audience finally, refusing to be told what to think by a logo at the bottom of a tabloid headline. That is the case. That is the file. That is the truth they tried to bury under 4 days of polished propaganda. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with a list of questions. Not for me to answer. For Joe McCann's team to answer. Because right now, for exclusives later, none of these questions have a single line of public response attached to them. Read them slowly. Sit with them. Question 1. What exactly were you doing in that hotel room during the 11 hours Ashley was unconscious in a hospital? Not what your lawyer says. Not what your publicist says. You, in your own words. With a verifiable timeline. With a phone log. With a single corroborating witness who is not on a payroll. Question 2. Why was the hospital, and not you, the one to make the call to Ashley's parents informing them that their daughter had passed? Was your phone broken? Was your service down? Was there a translator issue? Because every single one of those is a sympathetic, fixable, easily explained answer. And not one of them has been offered. Question 3. Who paid for the publicist? Who paid for the lawyer? Who paid for the Twitter letter to be amplified into global headlines within hours? If the answer involves the same investors who are waiting on you to look human again, the public deserves to know that the apparatus protecting you is a financial product, not a personal one. Question 4. Where are the screenshots of the racist taunts and death threats? Not the claim of them. The screenshots. With timestamps. With usernames. With anything that resembles evidence. Because Ashley's family has been called every name in the book in plain view on every platform, and not once has anyone needed to invent a phantom source to prove it. Question 5. Why did the first words out of your mouth to Ashley's mother, allegedly, frame what happened as something Ashley did to herself? Where did that framing come from? Who told you to say that? And why has that initial framing been so quietly retired from every subsequent article without acknowledgement? Until those 5 questions are answered, on the record, in your own words, with verifiable evidence. Every press release, every exclusive, every Twitter letter, every responded promptly and appropriately, is just noise. Expensive noise, but noise. And Ashley Jana deserves an answer, not a soundtrack. She deserves a courtroom, not a column. She deserves a truth, not a template. Now I am going to ask you for something. 3 things, actually. Number 1. Comment her name. Just her name. Ashley Jana. 2 words. So the algorithm sees this video and pushes it to 1 more set of eyeballs, 1 more comment, 1 more share, 1 more voice. Number 2. Share this video with 1 person. Not 10. Not 100. 1. Because 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4 becomes a movement, and a movement becomes the thing TMZ and a publicist cannot outspend. Number 3. Stay tuned. Because I am going to keep covering this story until Tanzania publishes the autopsy, until the footage comes out, until charges are filed or not filed, and until every villain in this rogues gallery is named, identified, and accounted for in the public record. I'm not going anywhere. Neither is this story. Neither is Ashley. Say her name 1 more time with me. Ashley Jana. Now hit that comment box. Now hit that share button. Now hit that subscribe. Because the next chapter of this case is going to drop on this channel before it drops anywhere else. And you are going to want to be here when it does. I'll talk to y'all very, very soon. Stay loud. Stay sharp. Stay human. And do not, under any circumstance, let them rewrite this woman's story. Not on my watch. Not on yours. Bye. Justice is coming, and it will not arrive in a press release. It will arrive in evidence, in autopsy, in footage, in testimony, in the slow grinding patience of a Tanzanian investigation that cannot be bought, cannot be flipped, and cannot be silenced by a celebrity gossip headline. Say her name. Justice is coming, and it will not arrive in a press release. It will arrive in evidence, in autopsy, in footage, in testimony, in the slow grinding patience of a Tanzanian investigation that cannot be bought, cannot be flipped, and cannot be silenced by a celebrity gossip headline. Say her name. Justice is coming, and it will not arrive in a press release. It will arrive in evidence, in autopsy, in footage, in testimony, in the slow grinding patience of a Tanzanian investigation that cannot be bought, cannot be flipped, and cannot be silenced by a celebrity gossip headline. Say her name. Justice is coming, and it will not arrive in a press release. It will arrive in evidence, in autopsy, in footage, in testimony, in the slow grinding patience of a Tanzanian investigation that cannot be bought, cannot be flipped, and cannot be silenced by a celebrity gossip headline. Say her name. Justice is coming, and it will not arrive in a press release. It will arrive in evidence, in autopsy, in footage, in testimony, in the slow grinding patience of a Tanzanian investigation that cannot be bought, cannot be flipped, and cannot be silenced by a celebrity gossip headline. Say her name.